Now I'll continue to quote this piece from the Liberal Party's most senior spokesman on public security matters. Quote, at a time when Israel was bombing civilians and infrastructure around Beirut in response to the kidnappings of 2 Israeli soldiers by the Hezbollah militia, the Prime Minister called the Israeli response, quote, measured.
That's right.
Even after a family of 8 Canadians was killed by Israeli bombs in southern Lebanon and the fighting escalated, the Prime Minister refused to back down from this statement. So once again, we have the most senior spokesman for the Liberal Party on matters of public security attacking this Prime Minister for his support of Israel. And I will be happy to table all of those quotes. He goes on to say, in the same op-ed piece, which continues on a separate page, the member for Ajax Pickering condemns the Prime Minister's Middle East policy. Quote, Canada's foreign policy has shifted over the years, but never before has it been so strongly pro-Israel, he laments. Again, those are the words of his party's senior public security spokesman. He has, in the summer of 2006, that same member for Ajax Pickering says, and I quote, indeed, the Prime Minister's pro-Israel tone exceeded that of even U.S. President George W. Bush, who acknowledged the right to defend itself, but also urged the Jewish state to be mindful of consequences. So again, he criticized the conservative government and the conservative Prime Minister for his support of Israel. I'll be happy to table that as well, Mr. Speaker. Now, that brings us to the issue of the leader of the Liberal Party, and the honourable member stood in this place and claimed that there was a problem with context. And that I have right here the context of the remarks that the leader of the Liberal Party, the current leader of the Liberal Party, made with respect to Israel. It was during the 2006 conflict between the Democratic State of Israel and the terrorist group Hezbollah, and the current Liberal leader said, and I quote, I was a professor of human rights, and I am also a professor of the laws of war, and what happened in Ghana was a war crime, and I should have said that. That's clear. That is quoted in the National Post, October 11th, 2006. Now, in the Toronto Star on October 11th, I have a quote from the same Liberal leader. I believe that war crimes were committed in the war in Lebanon. I don't think there is any question about it. And war crimes were visited on Israeli civilians, and they were visited on Lebanese civilians. So, Mr. Speaker, he said twice, and 2 separate quotes, I have 2 separate citations of where he accuses the State of Israel of participating in a war crime. He may have changed his mind later on, but the reality is that when the pressure was on, he took the position that Israel was engaging in war crimes. Now, again, the honourable member across the way may not like those facts. If he doesn't like the facts about his party, he can change parties, but he can't change the facts. And that is the challenge with which he is confronted today. So allow me to summarize these points, Mr. Speaker, by saying the following, pointing to the following facts. Fact, the Liberal leader accused Israel of war crimes. Fact, members of the present Liberal caucus have marched with Hezbollah supporters. Fact, the former Liberal government refused to walk out on the Durban Hate Fest when they had the chance and when so many asked them to do so. These are the facts about the Liberal Party. Furthermore, there are facts about this government. There are facts about the way in which the Liberal Party responded to this government. When the Prime Minister of Canada was the first leader in the world to cut off funds to the Hamas government in Gaza, the Liberals said the funds should be increased. When this Prime Minister stood with Israel in its war against Hezbollah, the Liberal leader was calling Israel a war criminal, and his Liberal caucus members were advocating legalizing Hezbollah. And while our Conservative Prime Minister was the first leader in the world to walk out on the Durban 2 Hate Festival, the Liberals had stayed for the Durban 1 Festival in that conference. Those are the facts, Mr. Speaker. And as a result, we have been, as a party, prepared to defend the positions that we have taken and the decisions that at which we have arrived. If the member across the way is uncomfortable with the positions that his party has taken, then I would encourage him to speak up against his party when they take those positions. But I think that he is learning the discomfort that is often associated with being in a party that tries to talk out of both sides of its mouth on the same issue. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the occasion to address this chamber, and I look forward to tabling all of the facts that I shared with you here today.